Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the MACS podcast. My name is Steve Schaeber, and I'm the Manager of Service Training for MACS, the Mobile Air Climate Systems Association. And I'm joined again, as usual, by our president, Peter Coll. Welcome, Peter.
Steve, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I don't know,
right.
We're supposed to say that? Everyone knows supposed to be recording
Everyone
this
says
on a
it,
Friday
but
today?
you know what? This week, it's especially a happy Friday.
It is especially happy Friday.
Yeah.
So, Steve, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Once you leave here, let's say Sunday night.
Right.
When are you coming back to the office?
Well, probably not until Tuesday of the following week, because actually next week, as everyone knows, is our annual MACS training event and trade show. Mm-hmm. The special little thing for me, the special thing is I get to go to jury duty on the Monday when we get back.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, or maybe we'll get lucky and you won't get called for jury duty.
Well, lucky, yeah, it's my civil duty. I want to, do my part as a citizen.
But then you could join me in the office on that Monday,
which would is more fun. No, it'll be a good day no matter what.
Anyway, so what are we doing next week?
Next week's the annual event. We're traveling down. Some of us are going on Monday. Yep. Some are going on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. But everything really gets rolling on Wednesday when we have some of our pre-events. Yep. Two of the most well-attended events are going to be the SAE meetings that we have starting first thing Wednesday morning.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. So we're going to have two SAE meetings. We've got HFTC 6.
Right. That's the truck and off-highway ag and construction equipment meeting.
I call them the heavy-duty guys.
Right. Heavy-duty guys.
That's just me. Right. And then Wednesday we have a cooperative research program meeting.
Right.
That will talk about new refrigerants, new system designs for electric vehicles, and shameless plug for Friday morning's general session where those folks, those refrigerant guys, will be on a panel for us on Friday morning.
So we'll get to learn some about what we can say in the general public during that meeting on Friday.
Yep. So HFTC 6 is a public meeting. Anybody could go to
Anyone
HFTC
can go to
6.
that, right.
The CRP meeting is not a public meeting.
Right, that's closed.
It's a closed meeting, only to folks who have been approved to be part of that and have paid an appropriate remuneration to be part of that team.
Right. And there's confidentiality agreements that have to be signed.
A lot of crossover, though. A lot of crossover between the heavy-duty folks or HFTC 6 folks, the CRP folks, and then Thursday's SAE meeting, which is the Interior Climate Control Committee meeting.
Right, which is an open public meeting.
Another open public meeting, right. A lot of crossover from the same folks. We'd be remiss if we did not mention that this year we've partnered with AMRA, Automotive Maintenance and Repair Association.
Right.
They're having their winter technical conference on Tuesday, begins first thing Tuesday morning, runs through late morning on Wednesday.
And it's an all-day meeting on Tuesday.
All-day meeting Tuesday. I'm actually going to be presenting there Tuesday morning on an AC update for them. And then once that meeting ends, there are two other events. So we've got the end of the AMRA meeting, we've got the end of the HFTC 6 meeting,
right?
And then I'll talk about the fun one, at least the fun one for me, which is MACS Annual Golf Tournament. Right. Takes place Wednesday afternoon at Eagle Creek, and we got a great field of folks going out there. And that'll be some good entertainment for a whole bunch of people. But there is another special event Wednesday afternoon, Steve.
Right, that's the fun one for me.
There you go.
Right, so this year we have our first field trip as part of the annual event. And we're going to be going to the Prevost Coach Service Center, located about 30 minutes away from the hotel. Mm-hmm. So we have transportation arranged that we're going to go
on a Prevost
Prevost coach, of course.
There you go.
Right. Yep. But from a local coach operator in the Orlando area. They're going to provide transportation for those who've paid to go on the trip. Mm-hmm. And we'll be leaving around 12:30, heading over to the service center. We're going to get a tour of the parts department and their service area, and also get some hands-on training with a coach in the shop.
Right.
Because those vehicles are, as much as we know about air conditioning, living it every day with cars and trucks and even, bigger ag equipment and some construction machines. When you get next to a bus, a 56 passenger bus, I mean, it's a whole nother game.
Yep. And those buses really are correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know a whole lot about these, are kind of the core chassis that, might make up a giant RV.
Oh, sure.
In the case of a Prevost or Volvo, product.
Right.
So they're outfitted differently, different seats, different configurations on the inside, but a lot of those other operations that are hidden behind those panels are very similar.
Right. I mean, some of these coaches are set up, for regular coach transportation, like you would for, say taking a bus trip to a casino or something, or going to Disney, right? Yep. We're in Florida. But also these coaches are, there's presidential coaches,
sure,
that transport the president or vice president or, someone in the government around.
Right.
Also, they're used for rock stars. Right. That's the big thing. Right. Yeah. The rock star.
NASCAR drivers have them.
NASCAR drivers.
Formula One drivers. Right there.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's a lot of just regular, independent citizens that own those coaches, and they use them as RVs and just travel around, go to football games and stuff.
So we're going to have a great day on Wednesday.
Right.
But we really get started and cranked up Thursday morning.
Right. That's actually the official start of the annual event, Thursday.
Right. So I will be spending my Thursday morning either putting out fires or...
As we all will. All of us on staff.
SAE Interior Climate Control Committee meeting, which will run all day long with a break for lunch. And you'll be starting out generally with our program trainers.
Right, training classes.
Yep.
So one of the jobs I do, everyone that's seen me running around during the training classes, I'm going from room to room. I got to make sure the projectors are working, speakers are there, chairs, the air temperature in the room and whatnot.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the website. Of course, we have the MACS website up, but we have, of course, a special web page just for our training event. And here I have the page for Thursday, the events that are taking place on Thursday. So I'm just going to kind of scroll down here real quick. It's a long list.
Right. We've got what we scrolled through. There's Robert Hitt with a Prevost classroom training as a follow-up to the field trip,
which is actually kind of cool. So the same instructor that's going to be presenting at the Prevost Service Center is actually going to come to MACS, because not everyone can go. Not everyone's going to be in town on Wednesday.
Right.
So for those attendees, they'll get to see him live at MACS.
Yep. Then we've got Tom Rake from AVI, the group.
Right, and then Michael Heyman is actually filling in for Jerry Mungle, who's a longtime MACS presenter.
Yep.
But for a conflict with the scheduling, can't be there this year.
Yep. And then, of course, Pete Meyer from Dorman will be coming over from the western coast of Florida, where he lives.
Right. And somewhere else in here, we have G. Trulia, also from Dorman.
Yeah, we'll get to
the program. We'll get to him.
Yeah.
Right. Another favorite, Dave Hobbs, right, who we recently had on the podcast.
Yep. And Jeff Mordock from Cyclone International will be coming in talking about some heavy duty, because they do a lot of filtration things for heavy duty off-road ag type equipment.
Yeah, and Jeff's presentation should be pretty interesting for those who don't follow the heavy duty side. He's one of the leaders of ISO 23875, which there's kind of a cousin standard in the SAE committee. I forget what number it is. But Jeff's been lead for that for a long time. And you'd be surprised how much goes into filtration for those cab systems, because those operators are out there digging in the dirt all day. That little fine particles that come up are really bad for your lungs.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. And obviously those are things that need to be changed quite often. And if they can extend life of the filtration through filtration designs and so forth, that's a great thing.
Right.
Then we have the SAE Interior Climate Control Committee meeting. All parts of it: service, fluids, OEM, steering, and
suppliers. Right. Frank Woodson from Gates, who's taken over the role from, actually someone called me today and asked about Bobby, who used to teach from Gates. But now Frank does a wonderful job. And this is a really good program he does on water pumps.
Right.
And failure mode analysis. FMA, it's an engineers, right? Engineers love it.
Yeah. And it's a lot of pictures.
Lots of pictures.
Pictures are good. So we can point at a picture and we can look detail at a picture and we can see what's wrong. And we've also got a companion tour, or what we used to call a spouse tour, a partner tour, call it whatever you like.
Right.
But if you have someone who's coming along with you, maybe to enjoy a little bit of the warm weather and the sunshine, but not going to do the training.
Right. Not everyone wants to listen to air conditioning.
We've got a nice scenic boat tour available for them. Of course, we've got sponsors of various different parts of this, Honeywell and the coffee break. And
Right, and then we're very lucky to have Pete McCardle back from Four Seasons. He's going to do a class on eliminating AC comebacks. Because, Four Seasons being a big parts supplier, they see a lot of parts that come back in on warranty. But we in the shop, we see a lot of comebacks from how we do our work. So it's really great information for how to prevent that in the first place.
Joe Long from Old World Industries, which if you don't know who OWI is, if you think Peak
antifreeze.
Antifreeze, that's Old World Industries. So he'll be back talking everything about coolants.
Right, and CARM. Right.
Yep.
So CARM is not only our keynote, who he'll be doing on Thursday, but he's also doing our Saturday lunch.
Yep.
And there's also going to be a couple of interviews he's going to schedule throughout the event with certain guests that he'd like to include for his podcast.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And and along with that, because it's funny it's not on here, but we also do our Pioneer Award presentation at that lunch. So we've got a keynote lunch with our Pioneer Awards and the keynote speech from Carm Capriato.
Right, and our pioneers don't just get awards; we also put them to work.
That's exactly that's exactly right.
Right.
So we've got we're going to follow that again with Al McAvoy right after lunch, talking everything Stellantis and an HVAC update. I remember one of his very popular ones a couple of years ago was when he had all the good Hellcat stuff for us, or the Red Eye or the Demon or whatever it was called.
And he also did a presentation, one of the first ones we had with 1234YF.
Yeah.
Because they were a leader in that.
Yep.
Right. And I remember a lot of discussion and a lot of questions about, especially the price. And not only the price of it, forget that, how they price it. Because we're so used to talking about just, the pound or maybe by the cylinder, but some of these
the
places,
gram.
do it by the gram because it's bring the number down.
Fortunately, that's up a little bit.
Right. Michael Heyman again. He's going to actually be doing a 2-part program. So basically, it's part 1 and part 2 in the morning and the afternoon.
And then the Count, Jerry Truglia, Count Dracula, Jerry Truglia comes in. Jerry is just a longtime friend of Max, longtime friend of mine, and yours as well.
Right.
But we're happy to have G coming back. It's good to see G back up and healthy and back on the road after some trouble, I think, in 2023.
Right. Mike Bailey is going to be coming back. He did these similar classes. These are a little bit different than what he did last year in Nashville. But, Mike Bailey, the auto prof, does a lot of hybrid and EV training. And he was very popular last year, and he's, been very agreeing to come back and teach his classes again at MACS.
So we have Peter Orlando from Advanced CTI or CarQuest Technical Institute, I guess that's what it's referred to. And he'll do some climate control, performance testing data in a class.
And he actually, if I'm correct on this class, he's actually teaching 2 classes. He just got done writing it. So it's brand new material that he hasn't done before. So,
so heckle him.
Heckle him.
If you're in his class, heckle him. Pepper him with questions.
Yeah, he's good with that.
Yeah.
And Sherwood doing his annual AGCO equipment HVAC service and repair update, which includes service information for certain AGCO equipment.
Yep.
One of the things that Sherwood does, which is very helpful to our ag members, is he does an update every year on how much refrigerant his very different machine models take.
Right.
Which they also supply to us that we have available to our members if someone's looking for it. So it's,
and some of that data is not always readily available.
It's hard to find. Right.
Light duty, medium duties, not too hard, but once you get to the ag equipment stuff. So Daikin is going to feed us in the afternoon and recharge us for the rest of the show. And then we jump to Jerry Lemon. Jerry Lemon's going to do some field service tool and do some demonstrations of some field service tools that are being loaned to us, I guess, from various exhibitors.
Right.
So it'd be a great opportunity to see Jerry talk about them and then visit with the exhibitors on Friday and talk a little bit more.
Yeah, and this is going to be a cool class because not only is he going to have the props, right? He's going to have the tools and equipment from some of the people out of the trade show itself, but this is going to be the live version of the webinar that Jerry did for us back in August.
Right.
So we'll get to see it live in person at MACS.
And you can ask questions. That's
right. Right. Then, of course, we have the member meeting that evening from 4:30 to 5, so late in the afternoon. And the highlight of the night, to close it all off,
It all depends, I guess, whether you're paying the bar tab or
Right.
not.
It depends on when your night ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our welcome reception, we're going to have a poolside welcome reception. We check the weather. The weather looks great. So we plan to
Hopefully
have
it doesn't rain.
Yep. So we've got Honeywell, Robinair, and GPD, Ranshoe,
And Omega.
Omega.
Yes.
Omega
The group.
GPD Ranshoe
Yes.
group sponsoring that along with Robinair and Honeywell. So we're looking forward to that. And that will wrap up our Thursday. But
Right.
then we get into Friday. Lots going on Friday.
Well, yeah, it keeps going, right? When Thursday's over, it just rolls right into Friday.
Yep.
Right? Next thing you know, it's 6 a.m. and we're back downstairs.
Yep.
So, of course, we have continental breakfast and our general session to kick things off.
Yep. So we'll give you a MACS update and let you know what's happening at MACS. We'll have our EPA friends come in.
Yep.
Our partners from the EPA give us an update on what they're doing and their work with MACS and other organizations. And then we have a refrigerant manufacturers panel.
Right.
And the sparks might fly. We're hoping the sparks don't fly. We're going to keep certain people away from certain people and so forth. But no,
It'll all be good.
They've all known each other forever and ever. But we're going to talk about the candidates that are out there as the new future refrigerant for electric vehicles to improve efficiency and the new proposed system designs. It's still in the early stages. They're still doing lots and lots of testing.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different designs. We don't know exactly how things are going to go yet.
But each of the people on the stage has a product that has been entered into this research program. So it'll be a really interesting time to learn.
Right. And then before we go on to the next class, let's just say that right after the general session begins, our trade show,
Yep.
right? That's the big centerpiece of the day is the trade show that runs from basically 10 to 4:30.
Sold out from a vendor booth perspective.
Which is good.
Matter of fact, we
Which is
actually
good as a trade show operator.
Sneak one in at the last second and tell our folks, by the way, you got to find a way to get.
Right, we need another booth.
Yep.
Right. But in the morning, so during the general session, we sometimes have groups of, let's just say, some younger students that come for the trade show, but aren't really at the level yet where they're into learning about what's going on in the government and hearing from some of the industry manufacturers.
Yeah.
But they're really there to learn.
Yeah.
So for the first time, we're having a new special program put together called AC Basics for the New Technician.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you, I looked at the registration numbers today, and I'm hoping that we have enough seats in the room because, fingers crossed, I mean, I think we might sell it out.
Yeah.
There's still a couple days left while registration is open. But this class is going to be conducted by Jerry Clemens from Elizabethtown College, who actually wrote an air conditioning book that they use in college training programs. So he's going to do a class pretty similar to the MACS Mobile AC Best Practices, and that'll be the morning from 8 to 11.
Yep. We'll also have lunch in the trade show. I think that's sponsored by Bergstrom. I think they're providing lunch for us in the trade show.
The Grab a Bite Lunch.
Grab a Bite
Grab a Bite Light Lunch.
Yeah, someday we're going to change that name. Thanks, Pam.
Yeah, right. And of course, during the trade show, we're also going to have our annual Section 609 certification classes that are sponsored by Texas Truck AC.
Right. In Spanish and in English.
Right, in Spanish and in English.
Right, two separate classes. It's not one on top of the other.
Right, they're going to be conducted simultaneously,
but
from 1 to 3.
Two separate rooms.
Two separate rooms.
Two separate instructors, right?
Right.
And then we'll have our trade show after party, again, presented by Honeywell. Thank you to Honeywell for stepping up. Again, great event, unless you're the guy having to pay the bar bill.
Right.
And yeah, I got to pay the bar bill.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah, but we're looking forward to it. That'll wrap up our trade show day. No events on Friday night.
Not on Friday night, because a lot of people have plans Friday night.
Networking.
Right.
It's a great networking opportunity where if you're there and you have clients there or you have prospective customers or whatever, it's a great opportunity for you to have an evening to go have a cocktail or dinner or something like that without feeling like you're missing out on something at MACS.
Right, without us having some big event that's going on you think you should be at.
Yep.
And there's so much in that area. One of the great things about the specific location we're at in Orlando, you can walk 10 minutes and there's a lot of great restaurants and drinking establishments that you can visit.
Exactly.
Right.
So then we move on to Saturday. Saturday, the last day of the event, but not
the bittersweet day. It's the last day, but a good day. So, of course, we start 7:30 again with Continental Breakfast. And our first speaker
is Pam Oakes. Pam is one of our newest board members. She will be inaugurated onto the board at the member meeting.
In the educational section.
Thursday, right. Our new educational sector, along with someone who I already mentioned, Al McAvoy.
Right.
Is part of that as well. But Pam will come in and talk some hybrid and battery electric vehicle things.
Right. Heat pumps. And this one I'm really looking forward to because I saw, let's say, a sneak peek. I got a little primer of the class. I saw Pam teach at an AutoZone in Allentown, Pennsylvania, earlier last year, and she kind of showed me what some of the props that she uses. So really looking forward to catching this class.
Yep. Then we got Mike Bailey back, the Auto Prof, and I think this is like a part 2 thing, right?
Yeah, this is a different segment of the class, right? This one he's going to focus more on hybrid and EV thermal management.
Yep.
So this one will be cool.
Yep.
Cool. And then Dave Hobbs, he's going to be doing his ABCs of electric vehicle charging.
Yep.
And of course, Agnes is going to be here from Auto Air Parts of Puerto Rico teaching 2 Spanish classes.
That's right. Yep.
Right.
So if you can read that, it's basically practical diagnostics of air conditioning systems, right, in Spanish.
Right.
And if that's not right, then you can blame Google.
Right. Actually, Agnes wrote that. I wrote it in English and translated it to Spanish, and she fixed it.
I know, because I was translating it back, and I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway.
Now, we do have a correction here. Gerald Morris, unfortunately, is not going to be able to present from Caterpillar. Right. So we're still in the middle of trying to figure that out. Yeah. But we think we're going to have some good programming for its place.
And it's not Gerald's fault.
No.
Gerald did not want to cancel. Gerald will actually be
at the
facility.
Right, because he's actually the chair of HFTC 6.
But just for some business reasons, he's just restricted from being able to present. So this doesn't reflect poorly on MACS. Was completely out of his control. Came from way, way, way up top.
And we're going to have Bill Snow from Radar Complete Car Care and Tire Centers in Cleveland are going to be here. They're going to be teaching a communications class at MACS.
Yep. Now, it says Andy Fiffick.
Right.
And Andy wanted to be
the chairman of our board.
Right. But on or about the 2nd or 3rd of January, Andy had knee replacement surgery.
Right.
And while Andy's recovering well.
Right. Things are going good.
One of the concerns when you have knee replacement surgery, if you've never had it, I'd never have, but that I'm told, is that the physical therapy required and the routine nature of the physical therapy. You got to keep doing it. You got to keep on a schedule. You got to ice it. You got to use it. You got to rest it.
And there's travel concerns.
And the travel concerns. So it just wasn't conducive, 4 weeks out, 4.5 weeks out to be able to do that. So Andy sends his apologies, but Bill Snow is coming in and Bill's going to give us a great presentation.
Right. And the sponsor of our heavy duty, Dan Foss, has graciously allowed Aaron Clark to come back again to do a class on mobile AC hoses, application and troubleshooting. You wouldn't think there's a lot that goes wrong with hoses, but oh man, is there ever a lot that goes wrong with hoses.
Probably one of the most replaced parts.
A lot of environmental things in the vehicle.
Think about a hose for a second. A hose, because it's in a car, it vibrates all day.
Right, it's got so much going on
whether the air conditioning's on or not on, that's moving.
Right.
And so lots of impact. But then we get Honeywell again is going to caffeinate us and keep us awake in our break. And then we've got another class from Agnes Perez of Auto Air Parts in Puerto Rico, again in Spanish.
Right, and this one is auto electric systems.
Got it.
Right.
Good. I'm glad you knew that.
Well, Sistema de Auto Eléctrico, so I love the Spanish. And Kermit, his class was we got some great comments back from him last year. So this is a different class he's doing. But Kermit, as you know, from Transair, has installed AC in more bus systems than probably buses I've ever even seen.
Yeah.
So he's going to give us the ins and outs and in-betweens of bus AC.
Yep. And then Matt Farrell and John Dorse, two very good friends of mine from all the SAE days and my prior manufacturing days, great friends of Max. Not really competitive because they offer different products.
Right, but still in that leak
same
detection space.
Yeah, we've got electronic leak detectors and we've got UV dye.
Right.
And so they're going to partner together and they're going to do a presentation on the application of electronic leak detection and the application of UV dye and how you can use both to your advantage to be able to better service the customers.
Right, because that's what we recommend in our training classes is that you can't just use one over the other. You need both.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Then we have our town hall lunch. which is going to be presented by Carm, where we talk about right to repair.
We've got Ted Hughes coming in.
Right.
Ted Hughes, I consider him from the Auto Care Association. It's actually AWDA.
Right, the Automotive Warehouse Distributors Association.
Yep.
Right.
He's executive director there. And Ted, again, longtime friend. Real quick story, when Ted first came to his first MACS, because he had joined RTI or MAL or whoever it was at that time, I got a call from MACS and said, hey, we got a new guy from a big hitter, and he's playing golf, and we need to make sure that we pair him with somebody who's not going to embarrass us. Would you play golf with him? And I'm like, I promise not to embarrass him, be embarrassing to Max in any way other than I'm not really good at golf. But anyway, so a longtime friend of Max, so we're excited to have Ted Hughes come to talk about the right to repair, which affects everybody in that room. If we do not have the right to repair, then that is just so detrimental to everybody's business.
Right, and it's not even just about the repair info, it's about the data in the car.
Yep.
Right. So after that, then we come back for our afternoon, the end of the day, it's on Saturday, with Tom Rake again from AVI, this time teaching electric AC diagnostics and repair.
Yep. And Peter Orlando will return with a hybrid EV climate control operation on using scan tool analytics class.
Right. Pete McCardle, again from Four Seasons. Now, Pete's going to do a repeat of the class that he does on Thursday, which we haven't really done a whole lot of repeating, but he's one of the most popular instructors. And actually on Thursday, we have so many of our most popular instructors that we get a lot of people saying, I want to see Pete, but I can't because he's not going to, not enough time.
I'm glad you touched on that. So if I digress for just a second, it's such a challenge when you're planning an event like this, because if you don't repeat a class, then you get people who are like, well, you made me choose between these two, and I never get a chance to see the second guy. If you do repeat a class, then you have people who say, well, I wasn't interested in it the first time, and why would you think I'd be interested in it this time? And you really could have given me another option. So it's just a really tough thing for us to do, but we're glad to have Pete McCardle come back.
And lucky for us, we get these questions about our most popular instructors, so it's kind of easy to just shuffle things around and put them in spots where people can see them. So
then Jerry Lemon's back.
He's going to be doing a different class. So he's doing his field service tools class on Thursday, but on Saturday he's going to do kind of a staple MACS program, the heavy duty ConAg mobile AC best practices class.
And Daikin again is going to freshen us up. I don't know why we have that picture of some kind of granola mix.
It's like mixed nuts in a bowl.
It needs to be like pretzels, chips, and chocolate.
We'll have to do something cookies, about that. It must be some website.
But thank you to Daikin for keeping us awake in the afternoon.
And thank you to all of our instructors for coming to MACS this year. We can't do it without them.
Absolutely. And you'll note some of these classes run from 1 to 4:15. Other classes run, kind of a half session.
1 to 2:30 or something.
You will. So the event officially wraps up at 4:15 in the afternoon on Saturday. Another Saturday evening opportunity for folks to network. If the family's in town, go out to dinner with the family before you head off to whatever your favorite theme park is on Sunday. Or if you're like me and you're going to go watch 700 people drive in circles with little radio controlled cars a few miles down the road. So I'll be doing that on Sunday. So our sponsors, there's nothing more important than our sponsors. We just couldn't do this without it. I was writing kind of a speech earlier today, and I was talking about how important these guys were when you get a $100,000 bar tab.
Exactly. It means without the sponsorship,
So we have a great list of sponsors that'll be doing things, people doing individual events, a whole bunch of golf hole sponsors. We thank them for donating their not only their cash to sponsor a golf hole, but so many of them have donated door prizes. For our folks, and
of course we'll be there golfing.
And the golf thing's a great event. So while we can't accommodate any more golfers this year, when we get to next year, if you're watching this now and you're thinking ahead, it's like $130, but you get lunch, you get golf, you get door prizes, you get dinner. It's a pretty good deal.
So with that,
tired already.
I'm tired too.
been a long couple weeks.
It's been a long couple weeks.
Yep.
It's been a lot of work leading up to this.
It is.
And you know what? I can't wait for Wednesday, because once we get to Wednesday, it's either done or it's not.
Well, yeah, and you're running on adrenaline at that point.
Yeah.
And it's going to be what it's going to be. But we're so looking forward to have the AMRA map crew with us on Tuesday, Wednesday, have the SAE folks with us Wednesday, Thursday, our field trip on Wednesday to Prevo, playing some golf, doing lots of training, Carm Capriato with the keynote and the podcast studio, great trade show, refrigerant manufacturers panel, after show party, after the trade show party, Friday afternoon, then whole bunch of great training Saturday, and our Right to Repair town hall with
Right.
Carm Capriato and Ted Hughes.
And of course, just hanging out with our members that come to show up and support MACS and be at the event and partake in all these classes and events we have.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And the special surprise.
Special surprise.
Special surprise. Yep. Special surprise.
Drum roll, please. Brrr.
Special surprise.
Oh, I get it. Not for the podcast.
Not for the podcast, special surprise.
Right.
You'll get a sneak peek on Thursday at the member meeting, and you'll get a full peek on Friday at the
general session.
Yep. Special guest flying in there. I know it's not
It's not a NASCAR driver.
NASCAR driver. It's
Right.
not. It's nobody you probably know, but
Right.
extremely important to MACS.
Important to the association.
Right. Important to the association
Right.
as we move forward and try to grow.
Right.
So
cool.
it's been a pleasure, Steve.
You too, Peter. And thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you in Orlando next week. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give us a thumbs up, and also please subscribe to get notified of future episodes. I'm Steve Schaeber,
And I'm Peter Coll.
and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
This podcast is a production of MACS, the Mobile Air Climate Systems Association. MACS is the nonprofit trade association for the mobile air conditioning industry, representing manufacturers, Tier 1 suppliers, tool and equipment providers, parts distributors, and of course, service shops, owners, and technicians. MACS is a membership-driven organization serving the industry through training, education, advocacy, government relations, standards writing, and EPA Section 609 certification. If you'd like to learn more about MACS, please visit us on our website, www.maxmobileairclimate.org, where you can join MACS as a member. This podcast was produced by me, Steve Schaeber, and hosted by Steve Schaeber and Peter Coll. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give a thumbs up, and please subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. Thanks for listening.